DMD Productions.
Hello everybody, it's me, King DMD with DMD Productions. And honestly, I'm not sure what to do for Halloween. I've been trying to think about it. Thought about doing a scary story, but I really don't have that much time in the day to do that. And I want to do something kind of original, so I figured I would just talk about my past and the reasons why I am the way I am. And yes, this is a true story. No one's ever heard about this, so I figured it's time to just talk about it. So, when I was a kid, more or less when I was a baby, I used to sleep in a crib, right? I mean, I grew up in a very normal household. Everything was normal, everything was nice, but I'm not sure if the house itself was haunted or not, but there are definitely things not of this world that are out there. Like ghosts and personally shadow people are the main reason I want to talk about today. I don't know what this thing is or why it seems to like me, but even as a child, I've noticed that there are certain things that like to mess with me from time to time, even as an adult. This is kind of weird and personal. I've never talked about these things, but here we go. So, as a kid, I used to sleep in a crib. And we're talking about the really early 90s here, man. So, my mom would put me in the crib. I'd try to go to sleep. And usually I'd listen to, Disney tapes or whatever. And just as I'm about to fall asleep, though, weird things would happen. So, I don't know if it was just maybe medicine I was taking as a kid or what, but anyway, this is what would happen. Just as I was about to go to sleep, I'd be listening to my Disney tapes, and this became a trademark, quite honestly. I used to get this weird feeling of fear and dread, and honestly, it's weird. I'd be listening to my tape, and then all of a sudden it would start to skip. Like, unusually, in a weird way. And I would usually be facing the wall, so I wouldn't be able to see what's going on. And the room would usually be lit with a little candle, not a candle, but those little lights you'd plug into the wall, just for a little bit of light, in case you're afraid of the dark or whatever. And yes, I was afraid of the dark, and I have damn good reasons. Now, this thing was, what I learned later in life was most likely some kind of shadow entity. It didn't look like a human, it didn't have human form, but it had like a dark cloaked form, which even to this day, I'm not sure why, but that's mostly the reason why I usually wear dark cloaks. I don't know why, I just feel compelled to do it. Anyway, this thing would usually form out of the corner of the room, and it would just appear. Not like, I don't know, materialize itself. It would just be there, like snap of the finger. And it would usually happen as the tape would skip. Because, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to bed, I'm facing the wall, and I'm like, what's going on? So I'd turn over, and it would just be there in the corner of the room. Just, for a little while, it would stand there, and it was pretty tall. I'm not sure if it was just because I was a kid or what, but it would slowly come over to the crib, and it had this weird power over me, like I couldn't move. And I was petrified, but it would come towards the crib, and I'd be standing up, and it would just take me into its cloak, and I would, from there, have the weirdest fucking dreams. And I don't remember them, I just know that they were horrible and weird. And the only trippy is what I can only define. And as the dream got to its high point and I was starting to wake up. I don't know if it was just my heart beating, but it was like drums. Like, it was just like almost matching my heartbeat as the dream would fade out and I'd be waking up. It'd be like a boom, 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 boom. And I would wake up in like a cold sweat. And it just became like a normal occurrence. It wouldn't happen every night. It would happen, I want to say every other month. Maybe once every month. Twice every month. It was so weird. It got to the point where I just got tired of it. And it just didn't faze me much anymore. I mean, it was like, as I remember, I just got to a point where I just like, the tape would skip and I would just literally stand up out of my crib just waiting for this situation to just happen. And eventually, I think I just got to the point where I got older and I just stopped fearing whatever it was. And I think that's what made it go away for a while. But even later on in life, I think there's still something there. I'm not sure what it is, but I remember one Halloween, I was shopping for a Halloween mask. And I think this is a whole other situation, quite honestly. Man, people, if you do not believe in demonic or demons, you should. I got this mask and I was compelled to buy it. I don't know why, it just was. It was some kind of demon mask. This goblin creature. I don't know why. Even my mother had a weird feeling about it, but I loved that thing. And every time I put it on, I felt like some other creature. Like, not human. But anyway, even as like a teen, I was into the darker things. And I'm not sure if that had to do anything with my childhood or those situations, but even as a teen, I was a goth kid, man. I was straight up like, death metal goth, man. And even to this day, I'm a Satanist. I mean, I don't like to say that in public because I live in the Bible Belt. And that's because I've always been drawn to the darker things in this world. I don't know why, but I just am. I just feel safer and more protected. But anyway, I bought this mask, and after a while, I literally started hearing voices in my head telling me to do bad things. Like, I don't know if it was just because a kid, and I didn't have much power in my life. It's like, there'd be situations like, oh, I want to go hang out with my friends, but, my parents would be like, no. So I'd be pissed off in my room, and then, like, these voices would be like, you wouldn't have to deal with that if your parents were dead. And, like, you'd be free if you ran away. And I'm like, what the fuck? It wasn't like they could actually hear the voices. It was more like a suggestive thing. But it wouldn't go away. But after a while, Halloween passed, and I'm pretty sure my mom threw that mask away. She did not like that thing. I loved it, but I think it just creeped her the fuck right out. Now, later on in life, I used to have actual evidence of these things. My phone, for one instance, my friend was going through my phone, through my pictures, and I was just sitting there in class, he's like, hey man, what is this? And I looked at it, and it was this dark, like, blacker than black, but it had an aura coming out of it. And the way the picture was taken was literally impossible for someone to take that picture. But I didn't take any pictures that night before. Now, I tried to recreate that image, and the only way I could have done it is if I was wearing my black trip pants and just my dark shit on. But like even then, the pure darkness of this thing was you can't recreate unless you had special visual effects, man. I mean, the way the picture was taken, it was like held way up on top of the wall at like a weird angle. And I tried to recreate that. I stood there for like 2 hours trying to figure out where exactly the picture was taken. It was taken like up in near my door frame. In daylight. Granted. I've never heard of that. People are probably going to hear this like, yeah, you just bullshitting. But like, nah, man, like, I used to have evidence of that. But I broke my phone and I never could get those pictures, or that one picture in particular, back. And I want to say there was another instance I had a picture, but I can't remember it, honestly, at the time now. But here, even as an adult, I definitely feel things that are around me, and this is why I don't like to take shrooms, personally. But, yes, I do drugs. I mean, not drugs, but, I smoke pot and I do shrooms from time to time. But that, honestly, I do not feel has anything to do with this. But even from time to time, I see shadows out of the corner of my eye that just dart off from, especially at night. And like things that are just, even in the darkness, that are darker than the darkness itself. I know that sounds stupid, but it's like, if you have like one color in front of another color that's darker than it, it's going to stand out. And even sometimes I just see things moving around in the night that just like out of the corner of my eye, especially when I'm half asleep, that just aren't right. But I've kind of just grown, not to just, ignore it. Because they really haven't fucked with me, honestly. They haven't tried to hurt me or anything. But now, I just remembered another incident. Back when I first got my first apartment, and I was with my, girlfriend at the time, she had a friend who had a kid. And we were like, okay, we agreed to take him for the night. Now, that was fine and dandy. I have no idea if that has anything to do with me or the child or what. But anyway, we go to bed. And the outline of my room was, I had a big window, but I had shutters. But there was a very bright light outside my window, so, the light would shine through it, not like shine, it would shine behind it or whatever. And it would make the room kind of stand out. Now, I have never been more terrified in my life than I had at this moment. And I am a tough son of a bitch. But god damn it, this thing installed some kind of primal fear in me that I, to this day, we have something inside of us that we have triggers, we have switches that some of these creatures or entities can literally switch on. Like paralyzing fear, the definition of paralyzing fear, that's exactly what it is. They can paralyze us with fear. I don't know if have you ever been, in your bed at night and maybe facing one way and just had that overwhelming feeling of fear and uncomfortability, like something's there, and if you turn over and look at it, your complete world will end. Like, you just don't want to know what's going to happen. I don't know if anyone out there has ever felt like that in the nights. I've had a couple of incidents like that. Like, you need to get out of that room immediately. But, I mean, I'm a tough son of a bitch, but that right there it will bring me to my knees. If I can even move at the point, But anyway, back to the story. This is the first time. I don't think this has anything to do with the first entity I saw as a child. This one had a human form. Now, the baby's crib was right next to us. Now, and the light was shining through. I was facing my girlfriend, and I turn over, and there is this tall, dark, humanoid figure. And I thought someone had broken in. And I completely lost my shit screaming. And this thing was standing in the doorway. Like, this thing was standing in my window. Not the doorway, but the window. And it was just lurching over the crib. And I completely forgot that there was a child in the room. And I was like, I woke up and I looked at that thing. And that fear just came over me like, bam. And I just started screaming like, holy fucking fucking shit. What the fuck, man? You know, like, I freaked the fuck out. I was like all over my girlfriend trying to protect her in case, like, I didn't know if this was a burglar. I didn't know if this was like, you know, someone breaking into the place, and I didn't know if they were gonna shoot me, do what. But like, yo, bro, like, I was gonna take one for my girl, and I didn't even remember the kid was there. And so we had some roommates. They came in, and you know, home. We turned on the light. Yo, like, what's up? What's up? And, like, you know, as soon as the light was on, that thing was gone. It was like, you know, nothing was there. And it was one of those moments like you would see in the movies, like, you know, there would be, you know, an entity fucking with the main protagonist, and, you know, it tries to screw with them. I think it was one of those situations. But the thing that really stood out to me was the form. It was human. It was a human form. I mean, I've never seen that before. I've never seen them in that form, you know, which is weird. I'm terrified of these things, but they intrigue the hell out of me. I mean, one day I would like to actually come face to face with these things on a personal matter. You know, not just trying to, you know, drop the gun on me and make me shit my pants in my bed or whatever. But there's just a part of me, like, I don't know why. It's just, that's kind of the way I am these days. I mean, even as, you know, it's just the way I am. I've always been on the darker side of things. I don't know if that's why they usually are around or are interested in me, but I don't know what shadow entities are, or I don't know much about them, but I've done a little research. I'll see if I can pull up a picture here, but I'll try and edit this. I'll see if I can pull up a couple of pictures of what this thing looked like, or the two entities that what they looked like, a similar rendition. But I know I'm not the only person out there who's had encounters with these things, but it's like, I want to study them, but I do not want to get anywhere close to these things. You know, I feel like it's more or less, you know, you stay on your side, we'll stay on mine. And, yeah, I mean, I don't care who says what, but these things do exist. They do. They exist out there. There's creatures out there that we just don't know about that will show themselves from time to time. I mean, especially living here in Virginia, man, there's a lot of legends that go around. I mean, a lot of different cryptids and all that kind of thing. It's just kind of like, I don't like to go, you know, camping in the woods too often. But, you know, I mean, these things, we need to come to terms with, people. I mean, there are people out there who are just like, yeah, you know, no, these things don't exist. Dude, until you've had to fuck with it, it's not fun. I mean, I'm blessed. I feel like I'm blessed. You know, it's just, I feel like they'll show themselves from time to time, you know, as my life goes on, but I kind of fear what's going to happen one day. Jesus, God. Excuse me, I'm going to have to edit this part out. My mother's calling. Yellow? Okay, sorry about that. But anyway, in conclusion, yeah, these things exist. And we need to come to terms with them, even find a way to study these things. Actually, we do have studies for these things. You know what I'd like to do? If I had the money, I would literally build, like, a location to somehow study these entities. And, like, build a place for them to just live and do their natural thing without us interfering, but being able to study them and watch from a distance if they allowed us to. There's probably many things we can learn about this world that we live in, and possibly other ones. But there are things that shouldn't be tampered with in this world. The balance seems to be working as well as it can, so Lord knows we're going to fuck that up eventually in our quest for either power or knowledge. But until that day, I'd say everything's working fine. But yeah, that's my Halloween little ditty here. Yeah, in conclusion, I guess that's it. I just wanted to share that little part with you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little personal talk, personal story of mine. So, I guess that's it, guys. I'm King DMD, and this is DMD Productions. I hope you guys have a great Halloween. Peace out, guys. Bye. Stay safe. Don't let those creepy things get you.